Hello, hi. Hope you're doing well. I figured I would start going over weapon types. Um, what I think are good on weapon types, in-game roles, like what you're looking for on weapons. The big, what's the word I'm looking for, draw of the game. It's a looter shooter. This is literally what it's for, right? So, first we're going to talk about primary ammo weapons. That's what we're going to go over all of those first. And then hand cannons. I went with the too good, too bad approach as far as describing the weapon itself or the weapons themselves, and went over preferred perks and also went over the benefits and negatives of each frame type. So, hand cannons. One of the big things is that they deal with trash eggs in a single crit if you're at the same or a higher level, right? So they're really good against trash ads because as long as you get a crit, they're dead. It's really good. Two, they're very effective for burst damage. You can do a lot of damage in a very short period of time if you can land multiple crits on anything. Uh, Now they have a limited range when you compare them to scouts or pulses. This is not typically a big deal, but it could be an issue. And then it has a lower total magazine damage. The DPS on these things are not actually that good, but it's because they typically have lower magazine sizes. That's because they're more meant for the burst damage. Like I said, it's one shot to kill low level targets, which means that when we get down to the perks, it'll make a little bit more sense as to why we choose what we choose. These perks are kind of put in a hierarchy of what I think is best here and there, but if you get any combination of these to some degree, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good hand cannon. Okay, so in the third column, you want triple tap or four times the charm. These basically do the same thing, which is why I paired them together. Triple tap is if you get three straight headshots, you'll get one bullet back. And fourth time's a charm is the same thing, but for four shots, and then you get two bullets back. Reround rounds and reconstruction is just the lazy raid exclusive versions of triple tap and fourth time's a charm. Reround rounds is as long as you deal damage based off the amount of damage you do in the magazine, you will get more, ammo directly into your magazine. So just think like triple tap or four times the charm, but without needing to get crits. And reconstruction, it just reloads 10% of your magazine over time, all the time, no matter what, and can double your magazine size in total. Again, just lazy version of triple tap or four times the charm. Rapid hit and outlaw, they both proc the same way. It's just one requires kill and the other requires hits. Rapid hit is that you get reload speed and stability per crit hit, and outlaw is you get a bunch of reload speed and a reload speed multiplier per crit kill. Another one that I think is really neat that people haven't started using yet is Discord. It requires you to get a kill with a different weapon, but then when you swap to the weapon that has Discord, every time you get a kill, it's going to reload your magazine out of thin air. So, like if you have 7 bullets, but your total magazine size is 10, if you get a kill, then it'll just stay at 7. It won't go anywhere. As long as you're getting a kill, it'll keep the same mag size, which is nice, especially for a gun like this or gun types like these that don't require that many hits to actually accomplish the goal of killing things. It lasts for about 7 seconds. Um, it's really like an ad clear scenario type deal. As you can see, it's kind of lower on the list, so not really, you know, super impactful. But yeah, if you get Discord and that's like the only one that's on here compared to some of these other ones, you're doing okay. All right, and then there's a bunch of perks, so I'm not gonna literally be able to go over all of them. So anything that puts bullets in the magazine, um, whether that's through reloading faster or just putting them in there however the fuck it wants to. Like demo in that third column. That's good because if you throw a grenade, you will reload your magazine, and then getting kills will give you more grenade energy, which helps you throw the grenade, which will reload your magazine. So it's pretty neat. You can run that. Also, the final thing that I would look for is this is kind of specific, but if you get any kind of damage perks that are typically in the fourth column, but you could put it in the third column, yeah, it's probably going to be a good or at least a unique weapon. So I would recommend trying to go after that. And the fourth column perks that we'll be talking about here are, in my opinion, the best fourth column perk on a hand cannon is Frenzy. And it's because Frenzy does everything and it lets you get weird with your third column perk. Because Frenzy gives you 15% damage bump, it gives you max handling, which helps you aim down sights faster, swap to the weapon faster, and it also gives you max reload speed. So it gives everything. You just a much better gun, which means that you don't have to worry about like reload stuff in the third column. So you could do stuff like demo or like one of those damage perks, like I mentioned before. So you can go like double damage perks. Frenzy's really good. Um, Explosive payload. Um, it's kind of complicated, and I've gone over this before in a previous video, but basically it's a constant slight damage bump in PvE, like a 10% or something. And it also makes it where no matter where you're shooting, even if you're out of your gun's quote unquote range, then you will at worst only do half of your gun's damage per bullet, as opposed to if you didn't have explosive payload, well, you can drop all the way down to like I think like 20% of your gun's total damage. So it just gives you infinite range effectively. Vorpal, because these guns are really good against dealing with yellow bars. So Vorpal's good. Um, AoE damage perk, right? Any of them. So Dragonfly, these are the ones for the elementals. You get a headshot kill and it'll blow up in whatever element the gun is. Firefly, this is for kinetic weapons and solar weapons. Whenever you get a headshot kill, it will blow up with solar and it will give you more reload speed. Kinetic Tremors, you land 6 shots and then there will be an AoE blast upon the position that the foe is on the 6th shot and it will blow up a couple times. I want to say about 5 or 6 times, dealing AoE damage. Really good. AoE is area of effect. It just means like in an area, self-explanatory. And then of course your elemental damage perks. These are just these just make the most sense if you're going for a specific element for whatever reason. Arc has Volt Shot, Void has Destabilizing Rounds, Solar has Incandescent, Stasis has Headstone, and Hatchling has Strand. To be fair, Kinetic also has one, but that goes in the above um, thing we went over with Kinetic Tremors. They need to add more perks for Kinetic, to be honest. Now we're going to go over the hand cannon damage types. There are 3 different hand cannon frames. There's a 120 aggressive frames. These have the benefits are longer range. They can push out to 38 meters if you have 100 range on the range bar. High burst damage because they do the most amount of damage per bullet. They have a smaller mag size and they have a lower handling and reload speed. Um, so to solve a lot of these guns' problems, get Frenzy and almost all of the negatives are gone. And the only negative would be that maybe you want to shoot it faster, but that would be the only problem. Other than, otherwise the gun's perfect. So yeah, Frenzy would be really good on these, just for reference. Adaptives. These are really good in the mid-range. They have slightly less meterage than the aggressives, but it's not that much different. Um, at 36 meters. They have balanced overall stat totals. The guns feel pretty good to use. They typically come with pretty solid stats. Nothing that makes you feel like, dang, this gun feels bad. They have a slower TTK than special weapons on yellow bars. I really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel to figure out negatives for this. But they don't do as much damage as like a special weapon would do to a yellow bar. That's probably one of the biggest issues with the gun. But the gun is just so balanced overall, adaptives are really good. And then they're perk dependent. If you have bad perks on almost any gun, then it's going to be shit. But I think especially bad for the 140 archetype because they already feel good. So if you're hitting something and it just feels like it's not taking damage, even though the gun feels good, you're just going to hate your life anyway. So you want to make sure you have the perk types that I mentioned up above to help deal with that situation. And then you have the 180 precision types. I did not mention this. I'm going to. These are probably easiest to use because they don't kick as hard. They feel kind of like a slower sidearm. They typically have high magazine sizes. For reference, aggressives normally are about 8 to 10. Adaptives are normally 10 to about 13. Precisions are like 15 to 20. So precisions have a lot of bullets. They have great damage over time. These don't function in the same way that the other two do. This gun is meant for you to stand into trouble and continue to fire at their head accurately for longer periods of time than the hand cannons mentioned above, the adaptives or the aggressive frames. These have lower meterage for that reason because they kind of want you to face tank stuff to be able to deal damage to them, and they have a lower handling and reload stats because they have such a big magazine size, and they also want you to be aiming down sights precision-based damage. They're really lowering the handling, so you kind of stuck dealing damage to one thing at a time. It's hard to go from target to target. Um, if you make me pick my favorite, it would definitely be the adaptives. Although I'm just not mad at the aggressives or the precisions if you choose to use them. They're all good, just for different reasons. But if you just said which one would be the best and which frames would you go after if you only had to choose one, it's the adaptive frames. That's it for this one. I think I'm gonna do one or two more of these because this is actually really easy for me, and I think this is solid to be able to follow because I'm physically typing out and showing you the things that you're supposed to be working on here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it.